Welcome back to FHL Community Episodes. Sometimes having new lenses put on your eyes, over your eyes, make a big difference. One of my examples last time was in the chessboard. When you look at the chessboards, don't just look at the few pieces. You need to take a look at the four corners so that you can see what's going on. Look from a 30,000-foot view and look at what's happening in our community, in our own lives, and in our families. So first I spoke about the worldview. As far as human beings, if we can take a look at our world, what's happening in our ministries, in our lives, and you will be surprised that God will reveal things to you, and also from your own mind and experience, you will see, wow, I should have looked at this in a different way or a different angle. Now this time we're going to talk about volunteers. Whether you're a for-profit or non-profit, especially for non-profits, volunteers are the lifeblood of non-profits. They're very, very important. Not that I'm saying that the staff are not important, the paid staff, but volunteers are the lifeblood of nonprofits. And I'm really excited to bring you this message today. So volunteer is at the center of community building. If you are a politician, if you are a religious leader, if you're a businessman, if you want to build community, you need to take a look at the role or the roles of volunteers in community building. Volunteers provided the resources, the manpower, the time, talent, and treasure in our first mission trip back in 2005. Then after casting the vision, the volunteers willingly, offered to help even more, provide financial assistance to complete the projects. See, vision is very powerful. And it says in Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. That's from King James Version. So again, in order for us to involve others, whether they are paid and especially the unpaid, we have to always share the vision. And that's what God had shown me. I just had like a vision. Hey, it will be great if we can gather the community, the volunteers, to willingly invest their time, talent, and treasure in their own backyard, together with their families, grandma or grandchildren or spouses, and as a family to go out there and volunteer and give back to the community. Same thing. Volunteers are extension of the staff. They are normally in the front line. That means they are the ones who represent your church. They're the ones who represent your organization. And listen to this, they carry on the vision of an organization because they get so excited, and with that, they have something deep inside more than what money can buy. You just have to think about it. Whether you're a volunteer, whether you're a leader, how many times do you share the vision of your organization, or to actually remember the vision of the organization? It's very, very important. And the common root of these values come from service beyond self. And as a Christian, that's what Jesus showed us. And that's the vision that Jesus brought to the people. The first volunteers, who were the first volunteers of Jesus are the 12 disciples. They saw the vision. They saw that wow, this man has a vision of service beyond self, both an obligation and a joy. Do you hear that? Service beyond self or volunteerism is both an obligation but also brings much joy to those who serve. So volunteerism, I talk about Jesus Christ in the New Testament. but it's also recorded in Old Testaments when the Israelites celebrated their first king. Remember that? The first king, and the prophet Samuel told Saul that, hey, you don't need to have a king because your king is God. But they said, no, we want to be like other nations who have kings. So Samuel said, okay, well, I'll ask God. And then God selected Saul, the first king of Israelites. And then there were many volunteers who followed. You know why they followed him? Not just because of Saul, but also the vision and what they saw. The worldview is just like, we're going to follow the king, and we're going to invest our own time, money, and talents, and even our own lives to serve the king. And then after King Saul, as we all know, the second king was King David. So they voluntarily follow King David in the battlefield, helping the villagers to tend their farms and their flocks. The third king was King Solomon, and King Solomon was the peaceful king, and they built Israelites and things through who? The volunteers. And so also, he was able to conquer other nations and villages through those times. By who? By the volunteer soldiers. So let's take a look at the value of volunteers. First of all is the economic value of volunteers based on FHL experience. So this is just, we bring this closer to home. Now in our own organization, on our own experience, a typical food pantry receives an average of $2,000 worth of services every month from the volunteers. So if you multiply that by 12, that's $24,000 worth of work from volunteers. That's based on the annual average of hourly rate of $27.20. So now we are in 2021, mid 2021, and that's what they said, $27.20, maybe even higher. So volunteers are truly an extension of staff of an organization or of a nonprofit. So through volunteer services, again, we are still in the economic value of volunteers. Through volunteer services, the nation's gross domestic products, that means the value of goods and services is increased. That's because more people are served by the volunteers and more people are encouraged by the volunteers. So a nonprofit earns, listen to this, a nonprofit earns additional income through volunteers. Let's take a look at the social impact, which sometimes could be worth more than the economic impact of the community. So let me tell you why. Through the countless efforts and services of volunteers to a community, they foster relationships and encourage the residents to become more engaged and make a difference in others' lives. So what does that mean? Volunteerism cultivates caring for one another, but the social impact can be even more. So when people, listen to this, it's like you heard about snowball effect, right? When volunteerism continues to grow and more people talk about the personal satisfaction, the personal fulfillment that they receive when they volunteer. Now I tell you what, you want a peaceful society? Flourish the friendship, flourish the relationship, encourage to interact with one another, and we will have a more peaceful society, more peaceful city. And lastly, under social impact is new friendships are formed and the existing friendships are strengthened. So, when you volunteer, you meet new people, right? And then once you meet new people, now you get to know one another. Friendship start quicker when you are working together. So the next one that we're going to talk about is the spiritual transformation. That's another impact that volunteerism can bring. There are a lot of impacts, but again, in these sessions that we're going to have is the economic value, the social impact, and then the spiritual transformation. So we will pick that back up at our next session, and remember that you have the power to bring kingdom solutions and resources to the world problems and challenges. So until then, God bless you, and see you at the next FHL Community episodes.